So the combined wealth was probably over $500 billion. And I asked a lot of these people, do you have jars in your house with money? No. Do you have jars with salt water? No. Do you put headphones on and listen to frequencies? No. Do you use incense? No. Do you have crystals? No. So this guy's writing a book on manifesting money, telling you to do things that rich people don't do.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
All right, I want to talk about a major block in manifesting your goals, dreams, and desires. You're going to love this. A fella sent me a book. It's not on my recommended book list. Never even heard of the book. It was a book on manifesting. It was the greatest manifesting book ever produced, teaching the secrets of how to manifest your goals, dreams, and desires in life. And so I started going through the book. First I said, who's the guy who wrote it? And I can't find any information on this fellow. So I don't know anything about this guy, but I do know one thing. He ain't rich. That I know, because if he was, I can figure that out. I can find that out. You know, if he had $100 million, I would know. I just make a few phone calls, put his name out to some of my sources. The guy is like completely off the radar screen. Maybe he's making a few dollars selling the book, but he ain't worth anything. Okay, that's only one form of manifesting. I get it. Maybe he has good health, maybe he has a good relationship, maybe he's manifested some things in his life, and I'm not downplaying that. But I know he doesn't have a lot of money. And the book was primarily about manifesting money. You've heard me talk about this before. So I'm reading this book, and it says, in order to manifest money, use feng shui. Now, you've heard me talk about feng shui, which is a Chinese art of how you set things up in your house or your car or your office so that energy flows properly. And his claim was, if you have bad feng shui, you won't make money. And if you have good feng shui, you will make money. Okay. One thing I know about feng shui, and all the feng shui experts will tell you, if you have a house and you open the front doors, and there's a door straight ahead, that if you open that, it goes right out to the backyard. That's terrible for making money, because all the money that comes in the front door goes right out the back door. That is the worst feng shui for money, according to feng shui. I was just in Beverly Hills, and a friend of mine who I think he's worth around $200 million, had a $25 billion house that he lives in Beverly Hills. And he's lived in this house for 15 years. And during those 15 years, he's made an amazing amount of money. So I went to his house, and it's up in the Hollywood Hills, the Beverly Hills area there. Truesdale is where it's called, which is like the creme de la creme. It's one of the beautiful areas. A lot of celebrities live there. And I get to his house, and I open the front door, It's a big open floor plan. I open the front door. It's gorgeous, $25 million house. I open the front door, and straight ahead at the house are these open sliding glass doors out to the backyard and the pool. And I said, you know, according to feng shui, you should be broke. And he laughed, and he goes, you know something? I knew about that when I got the house. And I thought, my mind's stronger than any feng shui. And we all laughed. He goes, since I bought the house, I've made more money than I did before I bought the house. So I don't know about that feng shui stuff, but the point is, in this book, it said feng shui. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Then he said, this is another great one, get jars. And in the jar, put some coins or some dollar bills or $100 bills or something that reminds you of wealth. and set these jars up around the house. Another thing he said was bought little jars of water and put salt in it, salt water, and put it in all the corners of your house inside and out, because that will absorb all the negative energies. Then he said, get some incense, and he talked about the specific kinds of incense that attract money, and you put incense in your house. And then he talked about crystals and how you should get crystals and put them in your house. And then he talked about listening to certain frequencies and getting headphones, and you have to use headphones, and put on these headphones to get the brain working in a certain area. And that's going to help you achieve wealth. Let's stop right there. I was just in California, and I was with 35 guys. The combined wealth of those 35 guys, well, one guy controlled over 350 billion. That's just one guy. So the combined wealth was probably over $500 billion. And I asked a lot of these people, do you have jars in your house with money? No. Do you have jars with salt water? No. Do you put headphones on and listen to frequencies? No. Do you use incense? No. Do you have crystals? No. So this guy's writing a book on manifesting money, telling you to do things that rich people don't do. Does that make sense? This is why I've said 100 times, who do you listen to? You listen to somebody who has what you want and has been where you are. You listen to somebody who knows, not just knows about. All this guy did when he wrote this book is he probably went on Amazon and he probably bought 30 different books on manifesting and the law of attraction, and he pulled something from this one and this one and this one, and he basically just used AI and he wrote the book. Do you realize that most of these books that you're buying, especially all these download books, that they're written by AI? Do you understand that? Some clown is going, I'm going to make a lot of money. How to make millions of dollars fast and easy. Buy my book for $39.95. Instant download. Well, guess what? All he did was go on chat, was it CGP?
GPT.
Something like that, or some crazy thing, and just goes, give me a 50-page book on how to make millions of dollars. And it writes it up, and that's what he prints, and that's what you're reading. It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. And I know because I've gotten these, I want to see what is out there. And it's clearly, you feed it into another program, and it says, yeah, this was AI generated. This was it was written by AI, not even the person. And that's what you're exposed to. So this whole book on manifesting and all of these things are a joke. They really are. So, what do real wealthy people do? It's all outlined in the Science of Personal Mastery course under the money lessons. David Kruger is going through it right now. And he was saying, man, I'm reading the money lessons. It's like over the top. You can go through some of the common denominators of wealthy people. Number one, they have a strong self-image. How do you get one? Look, most people who are wealthy came into this life being told by their parents, you're a winner. You can do whatever you put your mind to. You're good. You're smart. You're intelligent. You got drive. You're motivated. People like you. So constantly, from the time they were born, all through their upbringing, they were programmed with all these positive messages, and therefore their self-image is high. On the other side of the coin, some of them were told, you're a loser, you'll never make it. And that drove them, like in my case, that drove them to say, you're going to eat them words. But at the end of the day, if you're programmed with negative from your mother and father, your siblings, your aunts and uncles, your teachers, your coaches when you were growing up, you're not going to overcome it. So you have a bad self-image, which is why Maxwell Maltz, in his original version of the book, Psycho-Cybernetics, discusses at length the power of a self-image, but really doesn't tell you how to change it. In the Science of Personal Mastery course, I give you all of the lessons on changing the self-image, and that's critical. So a strong self-image is something that all wealthy people have. Next, they have drive. They have determination. They are determined. They have a fire in their belly. They have a need to make money. It's this drive for success. That's very common. How do you get that? Again, when you go through the Success Mastery course, when you go through the Science of Personal Mastery course, when you go through the Guru Kev lessons, you learn how to do this. If it's not in your DNA, which for most of us it isn't, we have to develop it. And you can. You absolutely can. The next thing that they all do, and again, I was just with these people for a whole week. The other thing that they all do is they all have in their possession an heirloom from their wealthy grandparents or great-great-grandparents, or an artifact that was in some wealthy English manor home or some wealthy family's house. Or they have a talisman or an amulet that has been in the possession of a highly spiritually evolved being that has prosperity consciousness. These items then absorb that prosperity consciousness. And when you have it in your possession, it virtually creates an attractor field for prosperity, luck, money, abundance, opulence, success. That's what they do have. They don't have bowls of water with salt water in it. But they do have these amulets. And where are you going to get one? Well, a lot of times these amulets are spiritual books like a Bible or Torah or Mahabharata or the Vedas or the Ramayana or Quran that has been passed down through generations. And as long as it's been passed down through generations or was in the possession of a wealthy person, it has that frequency. If it was passed down from your relatives who are poor, then you also have an attractive field in your house. And it's creating poverty. Now think about this. Think about this strongly. Were your parents rich or poor? Were your grandparents rich or poor? Were your great-great-grandparents rich or poor? What do you have in your house that was theirs? A ring, a piece of jewelry, a piece of clothing, a photograph, a book, a piece of furniture. You actually could be in possession of something that has poverty vibrational frequencies attached to it, creating a poverty attractor field. Good chance. Wealthy people have the exact opposite. And that's why I offer the Guru Kev book, because I've infused it with prosperity, high frequencies and energy. So they could possibly act as this prosperity attractor field when you have it in your possession. That's why people who get it feel something, they tell me. And it can be very powerful to you. So think about that. Think about the books you're reading on manifesting. And listen to people that have what you want and have been where you are. Because you can manifest your goals, dreams, and desires. You can improve the quality of your life. You can improve your standard of living. And I'll give you one other thing that's very common amongst wealthy people. And it's really, I can tell a person's wealth by a couple things. Wealthy people don't use credit cards. The reason is, if you're buying something on a credit card and then just making the minimum payments, that means you didn't have the money to pay for it in cash. And if you don't have the money to pay for it in cash, you can't afford it. Rich people don't go into debt with credit cards. They buy things in cash. And if they use a credit card, now here's an example of the media lying to you. There was a big article about the owner of the Mavericks. What's the owner of the Mavericks? He's on Shark Tank.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. So Mark Cuban got a black, it's called the Centurion. They call it a black American Express card in the article. That's how stupid the journalist is. I had one. It's called the Centurion card. Amex doesn't call it Amex Black. We call it that because it's a titanium card that's black, but it's the Centurion card, and it has no limit, theoretically. They just have to make sure you have the money. So American Express has a card called Centurion. We know it as the American Express Black card. So Mark Cuban uses this card. He just got the card. His team won the championship or won something, and they were celebrating. And he was at some place and he was buying a $140,000 bottle of champagne. He's out with his players. And he puts it on his American Express Black card, and it gets denied. Because it's a new card. There it is. Yeah. And it says Black Amex, and it says trying. Okay. Now, when you look at the article, it goes on to say Mark Cuban's credit card got declined. An American Express card is not a credit card. It's a charge card. What's the difference? Trey, do you know the difference between a credit card and a charge? No, he's shaking his head like no. See, like everybody, nobody knows. A charge card, like an American Express or a Diners Club or a Carte Blanche, those were the three charge cards back in the day. The charge card means if I charge something today, 30 days later, I'm going to get a bill from American Express. I have to pay it 100%. That's a charge card. Because I don't have to carry $140,000 in cash on me. I can just put it on my card. Amex, American Express, is going to send me a bill and I have to pay it in full. There's no option. A credit card, if I put that $140,000, if Mark Cuban had a credit card, 30 days later when he gets the bill, he doesn't have to pay the $140,000. All he has to pay is the minimum monthly payment, and they charge interest on the balance.